where we start with a beaker and we add 1 to 2 grams. So this is at 28.4. So I need to add a little bit more to that. Which can you see? Sorry. I need to check the video. 29.1. I got to get a little bit more in there. 29.4. Remember, we started at 28.4. And so, mess this up again. We can fix this. Okay. So my mass at the beginning, 28.43. My mass after I add stuff, 29.43. Somehow I got exactly 1 gram in there. All right, next, using a 10 milliliter beaker, I need to add some water, preferably distilled water. But honestly, all the distilled water is gone. So I measure 10 milliliters in my graduated cylinder and add it to the solution. And I think you're supposed to have an observation. So you can see it's going blue. Blue is a typical color for copper to be in solution. And so it's also green. The more you put into it, the greener it will get. And there we go. We have a solution of copper chloride. So that's one of my reactants, is copper chloride. The other one is aluminum. And so we have a bit of aluminum here. And that's 0.20. So my aluminum is 0.20. On the data table in the lab, you have the beaker with the solid in it, right? We added one more 29.43, and then the aluminum wire, and my aluminum wire weighs 0.2 or 0.19. Again, the beaker 0.2. Okay, so we have a thing of two. Then we're supposed to curve it, and that's so a lot of it gets underwater. So when I put it in here, it will be underwater. So there we go. Push it down a little bit. Now it's in water. Now you're supposed to observe the reaction. So hoping my camera will focus. So we see some bubbles. Some people made solutions that were very, very dense, and they bubbled a lot, and they fizzed, and they got very warm. I don't know how warm this one will get. And what's happening on here, let's just take this up for a little bit, is you're starting to get a coating on there. And you weren't supposed to touch it, because we don't want any of that coating to fall off on the bottom. And it looks like I have a little bit doing it. So you just leave this like that, and then the reaction takes place. So when the reaction takes place, you get through the magic of film and my so this is what the reaction, this is a greener solution than what I had. This solution will continue to build up the coating, and eventually you'll get a nice coating on there. And so at the end of 8 minutes, you pull it out. And you have a piece of paper. So my piece of paper weighs 0.93 grams. And then what you do is you push the copper onto the paper. Now, the way this is going to work is I'm not going to actually finish this because I finished it before. Because the next thing you do, once you get all the paper on there, and I didn't get it all. After you get it all on there, you have to move it off and let it dry. So I've been letting some air dry. So here is, oops, oh, there you go. So the aluminum has lost mass. So remember it was about 0.2, and now it's somewhere, so it's 0.14. So this is what the reaction did. Sorry, I can touch aluminum, so hold on. You can touch copper too. So see, it's gotten much thinner. So I've used up the aluminum to make my copper, and that's happening here. And it's surprising that it's still happening because we get a coating, right? So the copper can't get to the aluminum to continue the reaction, but the coating's porous, and so there's still a little bit of reaction happening, and the crystals are building out from the center. So back to my earlier prepared substance. So here's what the copper looks like that I scraped off, and I let it dry, and I moved it off and let it dry. I probably could let a little bit more water disappear. You can see I have some wet spots here. And we weighed this. The original mass, oops, I can't lean on the table. The original mass was 0.93, and the mass with the copper on it is 1.16. I don't know why I got stuck on that. And that copper is the copper that's leaving the solution and going onto the wire. And then I let it dry, so there's hardly any water or no water on my paper towel. And so now I know the mass of the copper. You'll have to rewind, it was 1.16. I know the mass of the aluminum, from which I took a lot of from which the reaction took place. By the way, the aluminum is inside the solution now, as an ion, not as a metal. And that's it. You have a bunch of mole kind of calculations to do, and I can't think of anything else. That's the reaction. This continues to take place. Please use descriptive answers and fill in the blanks, do the calculations and turn that in. Thank you.